يعني there is much I will introduce you in Arabic Rakin and then I will say the English. Rakin, thank you very much إنك يعني still patient معانا. He's also very busy man. He was also giving a talk at 3 o'clock, but he still made himself to us. He's someone, many of the Sudanese, they know him, whether through Sheikh Babikir Rumi Kef or whether through what they hear. He's an activist. يعني زول نشيط جدا وزول ما شاء الله عليه يعني very active في الكوميونتي عموما not just السودانيز. ولكن ذاته هو أستاذ ورئيس قسم الريليجيوس ستاديز في المدرسة ثانوية في نورث لندن، وقام بنشاطات كثيرة من ضمنها سيف اور بويز، ده حيتكلم لنا عنه. وهو ذاته يعني أنا بتذكر بناتي بيقول لي they like الراب اللي بيعملوا اليوم، قدر ذاته انوفيتيف وكرياتيف يعني تو ميك الراب اللي بيحبوا الاطفال انه بالراب ده يوصل لهم حاجات عن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم والدين ويعمل الحاجات الكويسه. يا ريت لو كان في وقت كان نخليه يغني لنا بعد ما يخلص. يعني عنده combination of leader, coach, teacher, head of department, someone engaged with the youngest. So Rakin, thank you very much for your time. The floor is yours. Thank you very much again for apologize. We apologize for keeping you long. Inshallah, you will get on time. Thank you. Go. The floor is yours, Rakin. Go ahead.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Inna Allahu malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabiyyi alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatih lima ughliq wa qatil lima sabaqa nasul haq bil haq wa la hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqan qadri da'wal azim. Amma ba'd. First of all, Jazakallah khair, Professor, for inviting me to come to this very, very important comment. And I want to put my bit in as well. I want to focus on a part which is called the school to prison pipeline. And before I start there, I want to say something that the challenge that the Sudanese community is going through now is a challenge for all of the Muslims. It's not just a challenge for the Sudanese community, it's actually a challenge for all of the Muslims. And the reason why I say this is because now even the Muslim population in prison has more than doubled in the last 10 years. Okay, the Muslim population in prison is nearly doubled in the last 10 years. Okay, and that is from the Ministry of Justice. And children, it's possible for children to have one culture at home when they're with their family. So they're at home, they're talking to you at home, mashallah, you're talking your Arabic, mashallah, everybody is happy. But then when they're on the streets, when they're in school, it's a totally different culture. It's a very, very different culture. And unfortunately, the youth of today, the biggest culture that they have, that everybody is involved in, everybody is immersed in, the biggest culture right now amongst the youth is like black culture. But unfortunately, a lot of the things that is around what they're calling black culture is like, for example, the music scene. At the moment, the biggest music is like UK drill. It's called UK drill. Unfortunately, all of the lyrics is talking about killing. There's different ways on how you can kill people. Okay, and this is the most popular, and you see them, they have millions of followers. Okay, all this is happening on social media. So even your child can be in your house with you, and you think everything is okay, and this is what they're listening to, okay, and this is what they're focused on. Now, again, also looking at role models, I heard a lot of people talking about role models. Role models is very important, especially for the men, especially for the young boys, because when there's mother at home and there's father is absent, then what can happen to this young child is that they look for other role models, and the other role models they can find on the streets. And unfortunately, now we have a big problem in this country, which is gang grooming. Before it used to be, we used to talk a lot about sexual grooming of the young people, and now it's gang grooming. So you find gangs looking for younger and younger people that they can get into the gangs. And this is very important. The Ministry of Justice figures from 2017, which show that nearly 2/3 of prisoners have been excluded from school. Now, as Professor told me to do, what I'm going to do is tell you some warning signs, some signs that parents, okay, that they can look out for, okay, in their children. And one of the signs is if your child is getting in problems in school. Very, very important. Take it very seriously. If the school, it keeps ringing you up and telling you there's some issues with your child, there's poor behavior, take it very seriously, because this poor behavior, it can lead to continuous exclusion, and it can lead from continuous exclusion, it can lead to permanent exclusion. And there's a correlation between permanent exclusion and ending up in prison. They're important. Also, when a lot of the people in the gang stuff, it starts from young. Before, people used to talk about secondary schools, but now they're even getting them from primary. And one of the signs is poor behavior. And then also who they're hanging out with. It's very important for us as the parents, know all of your children's friends. Get to know all of your children's friends. Know who they're spending their time with. Very important. Because if you don't know who your children are spending time with, this is a big problem. Also, spend time talking to your child, one, but secondly, listening to your child. Listening. Earlier on, you heard from Sister Isra, who was saying that she had a good relationship with her parents, which is very important. But for parents, one thing that we need to do is be good listeners. We need to listen to the children, because this is not Sudan. This is London. These are the London streets. What's going on in the London streets is very different. It's very dangerous out there. Extremely dangerous. As you can see, every day, more and more people, young people are getting killed on the streets. And if you look at the names of a majority of the young children being killed in London streets, they're Muslims. You see the names, Abdul Rahman, Abdullah, Muhammad, you will see the names. They're important. When your children are leaving school, it's important that they need to be home. It's important that you need to know exactly where your children are all of the time. Sometimes if your children is out of the home and it's late, 8 o'clock, past 8 o'clock, and you don't know where they are, no. Maybe 30 years ago that was okay. Now it's very important that you know where your children are, because it's very dangerous out there. Also, make sure the child comes straight home. Find out the names, and we said that, of all the family members, of all the children. Know who your children's friends are. If they have, also, if you find out that your children have bad company, if you find out that your children's friends, there's problems there, you need to come in between. You need to come in between and actually take your child away from that, from a group. And it might even be, you might even have to take the steps that if your child is getting into a lot of trouble, you might even have to take that child out of that school and put them in another school and start over again. This might be better than leaving them to get into bad company, which can lead into problems and early death. Also, at home, make your time at home, make your home a fun and creative place for them. So it's even better if they have a place where they can bring their friends and they can spend more time at home. It's to make your home an open place. They want to bring their friends, let them. It'd be better for them to be in your house where you know what's happening than them to be outside where you don't know what's happening. Where are the places now? For example, you'll find the Muslim youth, that you'll find them in shisha bars, hanging out in shisha bars, hanging out on the street corners, hanging out in shopping centers. When before, there used to be places like youth centers. Of course, we've lost a lot of the youth centers. Now the children, they're hanging out on the streets. It's very important to keep them in our house. So all of these, and know that there is a different language. Sometimes the children, they can talk to you at home. You speak in Arabic at home, alhamdulillah, but it's important for us as the parents to try to keep up to date with what our young people are listening to, what they're talking about. Learn the culture, learn as much as you can. And even, to be honest, if you talk to your children more and listen to them, you can listen out for early signs. And there are other signs. For example, if your child has money, you see your child getting more and more money, and you did not give that child money, this is a big warning sign. Where did this money come from? Second thing, if you see your child having like more than one phone, okay, this is a big warning sign. Usually, if they're selling drugs, they have a small phone. It's very small. They have a normal phone and a very small one. This is another warning sign. These are signs. And then also, if your child starts to have new friends that you don't know about, they start to hang around with different children that you don't know, and they don't want to bring them around you. Again, this is warning signs. All of these are warning signs. And alhamdulillah, bil alameen, I think that is my time run up. So I think I'll stop there. So anything is from Allah, anything bad is from my own
Rakin, you are one of the best teachers. I can have no question. You manage yourself very well. But you touch in very good issues. Really, thank you very much, Rakin. You mentioned one thing which I can see it here been lots of questions. Before also the police officer said the same like what you said. He said if you find with your son or daughter money or is anything which you think you haven't given it to him and so on. Now we are the police officer because you were in your meeting. Now the police officer said always the police officer call them and do. What is your advice? We hear the police officer already. What is your, imagine I found money or goods or any brands, products which are very expensive. I didn't give him or her the money. What do? We call the police or we call people like Manny who is expert in the council with these things. What do we do? If I find, now someone will ask you that question.
Yes, definitely. First of all, have a conversation with your child. That's the first thing. Okay. Have a conversation. What is happening? You know, where did you get this from? Because I didn't give you the money for this. Have that discussion. Also, definitely call somebody like Manny or Abdul Kareem and get them involved early. As soon as you see something like this, okay, you need to go and get help, like straight away. Don't leave it and think, oh my God, it's okay. Straight away. As soon as you see something that looks suspicious, if you can get that help, that support, get it in. And also as well, even if there's a big gap between the parents and the parents and the child, it's important to get some young role models. Okay. And even if they've got like some young cousins, they've got some young cousins in their family, somebody that is younger that can speak to them, bring them in early. Okay. But this is a big warning sign.
And now another question for you. I mean, you're quite popular. I have seen that with Sheikh Babikir in the Rumi Cave. The kids, they like you. They like the way you communicate with them, particularly with the music, with the rap and so on. And we know that all our kids, if you check what they're doing on mobile phone, either games or they're listening to music. So to what extent do you think music could be part of the solution? And the things like you do, like the rap, which I always wanted, and inshallah we will do this, to give them, support them. Let's do rap, let's do whatever it is. Do you see that could be one of the issues, one of the ways to connect them closer to us by actually let them, encourage them to get engaged into maybe learn music or rap or whatever? Do you advise on anything of this?
Yeah, I think music is very good, very, very good, especially like right about now. And poetry, especially poetry. Poetry is so popular. And even we're seeing lots of young people, especially young Muslims, that have been able to express themselves with poetry. Also, like music is very good. As I said earlier, this music called the UK drill is probably the most popular music at the moment. Unfortunately, the majority of the lyrics is not good. So, but for us to actually, if we could use music but bring good messages, like what we used to do in the past, that would be great. Out of the, I think, of the young people now that is doing it, I think that there's one person called Dave. Some of you might know of Dave, but Dave, he was someone that had some lyrics that was more conscious. But and there are actually.
He got the award. I think he was given the British award last year.
Yes.
He was that so-called black. Yeah.
Yes, and there's a young Muslim brother that we have. His name is Khalid Sadiq. And Khalid Sadiq, mashallah, but he's someone that he's very popular at the moment, and he uses very popular music, but the message is very good. And we could do something. We can encourage our children to be making positive messages. But the main thing is that we need to keep our children busy and with us.
Excellent. Another question for you quickly, Rakin. They don't tell us who their friends. You have said that, Dr. Tamadur said that. Many people before you said the same thing. We should know who they hang around with and so on as But the question here, if they don't tell us, and that's quite parents, many parents say that, they don't tell you who are their friends are. What do we do?
If you have just keep talking to your child, if you have a good relationship with your child, okay, and you're very open with them, okay, then afterwards you'll be able to get more out. Because what happens with children as well, that if they feel that they're going to get into trouble, or they feel that their parents won't understand, or their parents are going to go crazy, they won't actually open up. But what we want to have in the house, we want to have like an open relationship where the child can just come and tell you anything. If we have this relationship with them, then we'll be able to get more out of them. But if they feel that they're going to just get into trouble and we won't understand, this is where the problem comes. So it's just important to keep talking. Yes.
About the role model and how to befriendly them and what the things you said, which is been said also before.
Yes.
Okay, Rakin, thank you very much. And Rakin, we will add all the links to the Safe Boys, all the things. Thank you very much. And I know this is just the start, and inshallah we'll come back to you. Thank you very much, Rakin. Thank you, Rakin. Thank you very much.
بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ميلاد، بلاد ميلاد. بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ميلاد، بلاد ممتد لحد حدود الحد، وطن لا